Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's meeting of the Phrancko Sweater Knitters. And it's really nice to see you all here. Hi, Sidra. It's great to see you back.
I'm so happy to be back.
Hi, Sumner.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Will.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Frank. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Rana, except I got the message that you can't speak today. You have no microphone. So we will be watching chat. And so Rana says in chat, hi, Frank. Welcome, everyone. So how was the week?
Hot.
Definitely.
I have been
hot.
very busy. Yeah, you guys are all really hot. I mean, we've been in the 70s
Yeah, it's like 109 today.
and wet. Like we are soaking wet. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Sumner. Hi, Frank. Hi, Will.
Hi, Serena.
Sandra. Hi, Kathy.
Well, my attempt to do I've forgotten what it is.
A yoke.
A yoke has been fraught with difficulties.
No.
No.
Turns out
Dang.
I don't know how to knit a yoke. I guess I should have knitted a few yoke patterns before I started designing one. I thought the hard part was going to be fitting the yoke to the body, which I solved, I think, but except I haven't completed a body yet to prove it to myself, but I think it's solved. But it turns out the yoke is causing me all kinds of problems. I'll just show you the sequence. Here was the first week's yoke. Oh, let me make myself spotlighted so you can see all this. This is sad but true. Let's see, which is the front? That's the back. This was the first one.
Okay.
And as you see, the neckline is a little big.
Well, the neckline is a little big, but it looks like the yoke part fits good.
The yoke part does look okay, but I'll show you in the next one when I made another one and made the neckline smaller, I still didn't make it quite small enough, but here it is. I was so excited. I got through the yoke. Let's see, which is the front? It's hard to tell. I got all the way down to splitting off the sleeves. And then I tried it on. And I made a discovery about yokes. Now, I know you can see through the green parts. That's because of my green screen, but just ignore that. Can never figure out which way to pull things. So what's wrong with this? The yoke is a circle. So it actually would be perfect if my shoulders were completely straight across. And this is all smooth. But when I drop it down to my shoulders, there's a lot of extra fabric here.
Yeah.
And it's almost like 2 inches extra fabric. And I said, no, I can just rearrange it. I can block it. But it kept rippling up here every time. And I realized your shoulders are not at right angles to your head. So it's not a circle, it's a cone. So I had to do all the calculations again. I suppose those of you who had knitted a yoke sweater recently probably know that it was a cone all along, but I thought it was just a flat circle, around your neck, and then it just dropped into place. So now I have started another one. Haven't finished the yoke entirely, just a few more rounds on the yoke. And I have tried it on. Let's see if I can find the sides again. Yes, that's the back. Now, made the neck tighter. The neckline fits all the way up to my neck. It may be a little too tight, but I'd rather do that. I can't figure out where.
Yeah, it kind of looks a little too tight.
Yeah.
But when you stretch it, when the rest of the sweater's there, it
It's
actually
going to stretch it more, right?
Gonna
It
stretch it.
stretches really easily, and that's what I was fighting with about the neckline before.
yeah.
And it's not quite big enough to go around without pulling on the sweaters, but I can tell it's going to be perfectly smooth here.
Mhm.
And this is the first one where I did the increases in a certain line. Let me take it off and see if I can show you that.
Yeah, we can see that.
Let's see. Yes, there's there's one here and one here.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you see that? I mean,
Sort
it's, so much
Yeah.
of it is disappearing. Maybe I
Some,
should turn
yeah.
over. Anyway, so it makes 3 segments across the front.
Mhm.
And I did the increases. I did each increase row. I did 6 increases across the front in one row and 6 increases across the back. And I worked out the formula to determine how many rows got increases and how many were just straight knits. And that got pretty complicated. To get the right size, I assumed a 2-inch drop on my shoulders, and I calculated a cone mathematically that would be around my neck, but 2 inches of drop. And then I calculated the number of increases. And once I worked that out, it was like knit 2 rows straight, then knit 1 increase row, then knit 2 rows straight and 1 increase row, and then knit 2 rows straight and 1 increase row, then 1 row straight and 1 increase row. So it's a complex formula, but I have to follow it line by line by line. And I think it's working well, and I think I can figure out how to generalize that to fit different size gauges. So that's where I'm at, and I haven't given up. I did also make another stupid mistake. This was not the third one I did. This was the 4th one I started. The third one was the first time I was going to place even stitches across in specific places. The first 2 I did, I just placed them randomly and made sure they were spaced out so they didn't collect anywhere. But I know that in a yoke sweater, you often want to put in patterns, and you'd like to have segments that are not increased. And so I decided, okay, I've got to put 6 increases across here. And that means I thought that meant I had 3 lines. I don't know why. And I knitted up about 10 rows, and I looked at it and I said, something's not working here. I can't figure out. I was putting 8 increases on the front instead of 6. So I ripped that all out and started all over again. So don't let anybody tell you that designing is just thinking of something and knitting it up and publishing it. There's a lot of restarts when you do something you've never done before.
Well, and especially when no one's knit a sweater quite like what you're trying to do, right?
Right.
It's a new architecture.
Except a lot of people have knitted yokes. I just couldn't even get the yoke right. But, oh, hi, Ron.
Hi.
I don't know how much of that discussion you heard about my struggle to get the yoke right. But the bottom line was I finally realized I needed a cone-shaped yoke, not a flat circular yoke.
Yes.
Well,
So,
and I must say, Frank, being on my 5th Intarsia sock, there are no stupid mistakes.
Yes,
when I learned from them.
that's right. I
And-
learned something
and,
from every single one too.
and this sock is the longest swatch I've ever knit.
So show us your sock, Sumner.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm like sitting here knitting it too. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And inside in the round,
Beautiful.
Tarja.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. So
It's
neat
perfect.
and tidy.
Yeah, it's all tidy. I've been sewing in my ends as I go.
Good.
It's a traditional heel, or I would call it traditional heel,
Uh-huh.
which is the slip-one heel flap with short rows on the bottom for the heel, and then you pick up the gusset, and there's no holes in my gusset.
Great.
Really beautiful.
Yeah. Even at the corner, huh?
Yeah, no holes in the gussets.
Terrific.
Now that is thanks to Kat Bordy, right? She shows you how in that book that I showed you guys a year ago or so, how to not have holes when you're joining the making the, I guess that's called the gusset, right?
Yeah.
So, yep, it works.
Congratulations.
Real.
It's looking great.
Wow, am I happy? I bought more sock yarn than I'm going to know what to do with. I know it's going to work. I got highlighter pink, like day glow pink. That's coming in the mail. Then and day glow yellow, so I can really show off these freaking things.
Fun.
Nuts.
And so are you saying that any of us that want socks, we should just put our shoe size in the chat for you?
If they take this long, I'm telling you, it'll be a good 10 years to get through another pair. I can make a pair of socks in a week. This
But not these.
This is a month.
Yeah.
And it's not done yet. Of course,
I take it you're gonna
sock.
duplicate stitch the diagonal lines.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. So I did the flat argyle sock, and that came out great, except for the seam up the back and the toe. And I'm like, there's too much seam, you know. It
Mhm.
just wasn't, because I do like to wear the socks that I make in shoes. So that's why I wanted to get this pattern going and like actually wear them, you know, and be better at it. And all because the husband wanted a sweater with argyles down the left side.
And you haven't gotten to it yet.
I haven't got it to it yet, but that's an awful warm sweater for the temperature, so I have time. Oh, and Frank, I was so excited. I finally bought the yarn for your hoodie. The Cascade,
Oh boy.
the Cascade 220, because I'm gonna knit one and then I'm gonna do it because I can't see my stitches in boucle. So
Well, I did mine in Cascade 220 Aaron, but maybe you
yeah,
didn't.
that's the one I got.
Oh, you got
That's
the
one I
Aaron.
got.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the Cascade 220 Aaron, and I got it in a baby denim color.
Oh, nice.
Which it'll be, so it's a little faded. It's not that solid. It's a little variegated. I think it'll give it a beautiful look. I'm gonna knit it just like you wrote it, and then I'm gonna be able to, I think, duplicate it in a yarn that I will not be able to see the stitches in.
Right.
There it is. I'm very excited that it's on its way, though. Should have it by the end of the week.
Well, after all this anticipation, I sure hope it works out and you like it.
Oh, it will. Oh, it's a beautiful sweater. That is such a beautiful sweater. They did a very good job taking pictures of that sweater.
Yeah.
And it looks so handsome when you had tried it on too. That please, I will love that sweater.
I sent in 2 pictures that were used. A friend of mine was willing to model the hood on his head. And I knew the mannequins that they used didn't have heads, so I didn't know how they would show what the hood looked like. So I took two pictures and sent them with the pattern and said, I know you don't usually use models, but if you think this is worth it, go ahead and feel free to use these two pictures. And Arinda did. She put them in the pattern. So
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. I'm still gonna pop the pattern into your website, so it'll pick out like that custom pattern by exact gauge.
yeah,
And then I'm gonna make the hood for the size that's listed in the pattern that's printed.
right.
So, I mean,
Have to,
that's
all you
pretty
have
much
to
it.
do is when you pick up stitches, if it's not the right number of stitches, either increase or decrease in the next round to get
Yeah.
it to the right number of stitches.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Very exciting.
I have a question about yoke sweaters because I've never knit a yoke sweater either. So for those of you that have, does it always start with you don't just cast on and then do the body and pick up? You actually go from the top down, that it includes the whole everything or not?
I've seen both.
Oh, you've seen both. Okay.
Yeah.
I've done Icelandic ones, and that's just top down, and it's a lot, but that's an awful lot of color work too. So
Right.
you're doing a
But
lot
you-
of increasing.
Right. But you don't like cast on and do it and then pick up the neckband. Or do you?
You put the neckband on last.
Okay, so you are picking up and doing the neckband. Okay, so it's not
What?
Yeah.
it's not an integrated part of the yoke.
No.
Not
Yeah,
for a
I
bottom,
didn't think it
not for a bottom up, but for a top down, it usually is.
For a top-down yoke, it is.
Yeah, usually.
So my top down Icelandic yoke, I put the neck on second.
Do you? 'Cause
Well, last.
yeah, you could do it that way, but the patterns I've done, they've always had you do the.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever even looked at one because they do always look like it's like you have to be built like this, like a little upside down triangle. Serious, if I had a really long neck, maybe it would work. But
I'm gonna
I don't.
pause.
I have a
and
little short neck.
I think I have one really close by that I've made.
Okay.
I've done it both ways. And so, like, I don't know if anyone has seen Flax and Flax Light, the tin can knit.
Yes, tin can knits. Yeah.
So that one you cast on, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, you knit your ribbing and then you go into your increasing. And so the whole thing is done with no picking up stitches around the
Okay.
neckline.
Okay.
And that works fine, but there's less stability for it. And there's a greater chance that the neck could stretch out over time.
Yeah.
Whereas if you cast on and then come back later and pick up and
Yep.
knit your
Yeah.
ribbing or whatever your edging is, you get a little more stability, I think.
Yeah, the
totally
cast
agree.
on and then picking up, it does give structure to that part. So you're not like pulling and being weird. Okay. Sumner is showing his. There we go.
So there's the cone.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is beautiful. The colors are just gorgeous.
Right. If I turn
Icelandic.
it inside out, wow, being Icelandic loppy, it's like an oven. So I'm not gonna put it on.
Yeah.
But see all the carries?
Oh,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and look at some neat and tidy.
Some rows have 5 yarns in them.
Wow.
Oh my God. So it's not like Fair Isle where it's only 2 at a time.
It is not Fair Isle.
Oh my goodness.
There's 5 different colors that you're carrying over. That's not faded. Those are all individual colors.
oh my goodness.
Mm.
Those are all solid colors. Those are not faded.
It's beautiful.
And then your neck this is a rolled collar traditional neck for the size sweater.
Okay.
And you roll
you
it
just picked
and
it up
you tack it
and
in.
then did it. Okay.
So it's rolled and tacked in. So,
Yeah.
and that's per the pattern, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
I
there's-
just
there's
wondered
the
how
cone.
they work because I'd never done one
And
or
this has
really even seen
increases
it.
in between the color carries. So the increases are
Oh.
at the dark color carries.
Okay.
So there's your increases. Like at the bottom of the dark diamonds and
Mhm.
the top of the brown,
Mhm.
those are your increases. Yeah, crazy. Loved it. It was fun making, but and being such a thick yarn, it was a pretty quick knit. But
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that it's just so heavy. I would wear it so much more. It's just so hot. You
Well,
you
maybe
have to
maybe
live
you
in the
just have to
Arctic.
go to Iceland.
Right.
That's the reason.
Hey, if I go to
show you
Reykjavik,
this
I'm
is
bringing it.
Also a yoke with no color work.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And I did this recently, and the collar was not done afterwards. It was done, the ribbing was done, and then you start. And this is a drops design, so it's a free pattern. So it's a good way, I think, to find out if the style would even be something you like.
Okay.
The increase.
Yeah, that's a rib collar that you start your
Yeah.
first cast on row is at the neck. Yeah.
Right. And then the increases are used decoratively along
It's
with
beautiful.
the lace so that you don't even notice those are increases, but there's a lot of increases. But that's a very quick knit, Cindy, if you want to try the style.
What is it
Well,
called?
I'm not gonna try one now, but I just was trying to figure out what it is. I have enough things already in the queue, Serena.
Please, right?
Serena, what was that one called?
It's actually Serena, but I'll have to
Serena,
go
oh,
look at
sorry.
my Ravelry page because I don't remember the name of it. Let's see. Cloud Dancer by Drops, and I used Loops and Threads Creme Cotton. So that's a Michaels yarn, nothing fancy.
You wore that one day at one of the meetings.
Yeah, I really like it. I've
It
worn it
fits
two
you
times.
perfect.
Yeah, I
Even
ended
though
up downloading it too.
it's summer, but it's such a quick knit. I mean, I think it would be a good gift knitting pattern if you do that kind of thing. So, but without doing all the hard working color work, it's a nice way to see if you even like yoke.
And what gives it the structure so that it doesn't just keep pulling farther and farther off? Especially with a wide neck like that. I mean, it doesn't droop off your shoulders.
Well, I think it's kind of designed to fit that way.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't have this doesn't have a defined shoulder.
Right.
But it is
So I
short
think
sleeve.
the trick is
Yeah.
that the neckline is small enough to fit you so that your shoulder, it doesn't fall off your shoulder. So
I see.
but it's no structure. It's just designed to drape. So it might not be a style everybody would like, and it definitely won't have the structure you'll build into your Phrancko.
Right. So let me spotlight myself. This final one I'm working on. My very first one, I simply cast on stitches at the top of the ribbing. I knitted the ribbing in the round and then started the yoke from there. And I found that gave it almost no structure at all. That's why that first one, when I showed you, I put it on, you can just keep pulling and it just keeps going and going. And So then I switched to doing it this way, where I cast on the stitches at the base of the ribbing. Let's see here. I cast on those stitches, worked the yoke in this direction, and then went back and picked up stitches in the cast on edge and added the ribbing, and then bound off the ribbing. And I think that gives it a little bit more structure, but it's still quite stretchy, as you see. So anyway, I'm still trying to figure out what's going to make this work. But it's not a problem that hasn't been solved, because there are many yoke sweater patterns, right? and I'm not doing anything special at that part of the sweater. What I'm going to add is actually after it gets beyond the yoke and starts going down the sleeves. And so I didn't realize that part of the problem was going to be figuring out how to do something that a lot of people are already doing.
What is that variegated yarn, Phrancko?
That is Rios. Somebody tell me the name.
Kamala yarns.
Malabrigo. It's Malabrigo Rios.
Oh, okay.
And the color is chameleon. It doesn't.
Chameleon?
It's not chameleon. It's
Chameleon.
chameleon.
It has an interesting. I like the way it does its thing.
Yeah, I like it too. It's practically disappears.
I know.
Let me see what happens if I turn off the green screen for a minute. I think I can do that.
What are you doing back there?
So, yep, you're just green now.
There we go. So now you can see it. This is what it really looks like.
Oh wow.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you can see the places. This is a shoulder, and it's like a saddle shoulder. That part is straight. And then across the front and the back, there are wedges. See, you can see this wedge here. And then I keep having to remember to go back, turn it the opposite way I want to. So this is the center wedge here. See, that's the center wedge. And then there's one more wedge over here, and then the other shoulder, which is straight. It's like a saddle shoulder on the other side.
Oh, I see.
And that saddle will turn into my Phrancko set-in sleeve.
That's
Nice.
cool. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, it definitely. So I have a very basic question, and it's a yarn question. And so Cascade 220, is that literally just the name of the Cascade company, 220?
No, the name of the
Because-
company is Cascade Yarns.
Yeah.
And their basic, what I think of as their workhorse yarn is Cascade 220. I did all of my swatches for the TKGA Master Hand Knitter program. I did them all in Cascade 220. But Cascade 220 Aran is just a thicker version of it.
Because I saw 220 in sock yarn. I saw it in superwash.
Well, it's kind of strange because the original one was just called Cascade 220, and it is 220 yards for 100 grams.
Right.
And so I got its name from the 220 yards.
That's right.
Cascade, but then they kept
Something like
using the
that.
name Cascade 220 and added Aran to it, and it's not 220 yards.
Yeah.
Well, and then they have sock yarn, and I'm like, what's
Yeah.
the 220 mean? Like, what is that giving me? Because it's either, I always thought Cascade 220 was just wool. It wasn't superwash and chemically treated and all that. But They
Well, no,
have the
actually, it comes in both
superwash.
superwash versions and non-superwash versions.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a very versatile company, and I guess
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay, I
why
was
they
just
kept the
wondering.
220 after I
think
think
they
they just
have,
originally named the first one Cascade 220 because it was 220 yards per skein.
Okay.
And that's a good thing to know because when you are looking at yarn and if it doesn't say fingering or DK or anything, you can look at the yardage. And if it's around 220 yards for 100 grams, it's going to be worsted. And if it's a little higher than that, then it's going to be DK or
DK.
fingering,
Yeah.
depending on how much it
Oh,
goes.
higher, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I saw. I'm like, what's the 220 stand for now? Because I couldn't find a correlation, and I'm like, it must be the line of the yarn, but what does it mean? Okay. Thank
No,
you.
it's
That's
just Cascade
exactly what
yarns.
I wanted to know. Thank you.
It's really good yarn. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah, I've
an
got
excellent
bags of it.
company, and they
Yeah.
have 1,000 colors. It seems. And I think I counted like 60 or 80 colors for Cascade 220.
They have highlighter sock yarn.
Highlight.
It
What
is
does that mean?
so it's like day glow.
Oh,
It is so bright. So because I figured out how to do this, right? I'm gonna day glow the damn argyles and they're gonna shine. Like you're gonna be able to see those babies, but like underneath my pants. They're gonna be electric. Very fun. I'm an idiot. I need help. I'm sorry. Don't judge.
Previous in Cascade's history, there were yarns with other numbers.
Really?
oh,
So like their bulky was called Cascade 128.
oh,
But I think for marketing reasons,
Yeah.
it confused people. Like
Okay.
so they all became 220, and that is like that particular wool, that level of twist, and then they all became different sizes of 220. But in
Yeah.
yesteryear, and you can still find them like hidden in people's stashes. I'm sure when someone's great aunt dies next, I'll get a big sack of them. But there were other numbers, but for marketing reasons, they all became 220 regardless. So goodbye 128.
Okay.
Well,
Well, yeah,
220 bulky.
and I'm gonna find out how the 220 sock yarn knits. I'll tell you.
They also do a pure merino now. That came out a couple seasons ago.
oh.
I've used
Pure
Cascade
merino.
Heritage, which is a sock yarn of theirs that's a wool nylon blend, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
I would definitely get it again.
Yeah, this is Alberico. I'm okay with it. It tends to want to split when you're knitting it on zeros.
Is it
Whatever.
ultra wool?
This is wool nylon. This
I-
sock yarn from
Yeah, but
Berico.
I meant which line in Barocco? Is it their ultra stock? The I take
Oh,
it
I
with
don't. Yeah, oh, figures. I don't have the band in this room. Do I? No,
Did it
it
comes
comes
in a
like
little
this.
pellet skein? Yeah, that's probably ultra
It's
wool.
already right. So they're big, you know.
So similarly, Barocco has a line of the equivalent of Heritage from Cascade is the Ultra Wool line from Barocco.
Okay.
So they have Ultra Wool Fine, Ultra Wool Sport, Ultra Wool.
Yeah, I made Barocco vintage sweater. It pilled like crazy. I loved it. Great sweater. I got to have the pilling comb out all the time.
Now, trying to keep track of what the major brands are up to and calling their things can be, but they each have a line of some kind that is like their basics. And the other of these three that I'm thinking of, Plymouth. You will often find stores that have made a decision between Barocco, Cascade, and Plymouth.
Yeah.
Which one do you like better, Plymouth or Cascade? Or do you look at them differently? I mean, they're different.
I had more Barocco. The only things I carried from Cascade were some 220s. So I have some 220 and I have some 220 Merino. I had more Barocco wools or yarns in general. And then just like one or two things from Plymouth.
Yeah, they have a great color variety, like huge. Barocco has huge amount of colors.
For sure.
And yet I still end up with green. I guess that's not their fault.
I knit this sweater in the Cascade 220 Merino.
Oh yeah.
Oh, isn't that a beautiful
And that's
purple?
the sparkling gray. Yeah, it is. It's really pretty purple. But it's not sewn together, but all the pieces are done. But I did really like knitting it. I mean, it's like the Cascade 220, the regular is the one I'm using for my level 2 stuff. And then this one was Merino. And I really, really liked it. It's done good. And it blocks nicely.
Is it superwash or not superwash?
No, it's not superwash. Mm-mm.
Is it fuzzy?
No, it's not. And I blocked it and it did really well. I felt like it did good stitch definition and everything, but
Yeah,
it is
that
very soft.
looks really nice.
It's
It looks
got,
great.
to me, it feels like it's got a little bit more twist than some of the merinos do. Some of the merinos that pill a lot I don't feel like they have quite enough twist. They feel really soft and lovely, but then they're just going to pill everywhere. And this one has kind of what I think of as the regular. Maybe you can see a little bit better.
It's
Oh yeah.
But it just has a little bit more of the regular Cascade 220 twist in it. And it seems to do really well.
I had a question about Suzanne's boot camp. I was looking on her website to try to see what website am I going to look for when the next boot camp is?
They have them on Ravelry.
I looked on Ravelry. I couldn't find it.
They didn't have it in the Knitting with Suzanne portion.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot there. She's got a
All right, let me see. I'm still here, but don't look at my eyes going back and forth weird because I'm going to be going to Suzanne's forum.
Okay.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Sidra, I've been dying to ask you what you're working on because we haven't seen you for a while.
So last I saw you guys, I was working on this sweater, the lolly sticks or whatever it's called. So.
Oh, that's lovely.
Great.
It fits really well. I've never blocked it yet, and it's not going to get blocked.
Love the waist.
And then right now I'm working on a sleeveless top that's almost done, thank God, with this nubby yarn.
Oh yeah.
I don't really, I mean, it's easy to work with, but I don't like it that, whoops. Don't like it that much though. Don't really like it that much. It's very green, but it doesn't look green here. Sleeveless top. And then I have a question on, do you guys need to block acrylic? Because I'm doing a swatch for my daughter's sweater in acrylic. And do I need to block it to get an idea what, okay, thanks.
No.
I have no
You can throw it in the washing machine.
Okay.
And then you're fine, but that'll just straighten stitches out. But blocking it, it's not going to do anything. It's just acrylic.
What you knit is what you get in acrylic.
Yep.
And synthetics in general. Not that there's a lot of polyester yarns out there, but
yeah,
true polyester too.
So that's what I've been doing.
That's great. Somebody else want to share what they're doing?
Well, I can share my Stephen West sock if you guys don't want to care about a spoiler.
I'm doing it too.
Uh-oh.
Yay!
Is it a sock along?
Yeah, it's a mystery sock along. We're on clue 2.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to compare. This is actually Cascade Heritage Gray.
Oh, we almost picked the same colors.
Oh my God.
What an
Oh, that's
interesting
fun.
pattern.
Well, that's definitely a Steven.
You're further than me. Yep. How are you finding it so far?
Well, I don't have much experience with color work, so it was really good for me to have some color work. It drives me crazy, the crossing the strand in the back. And then if I see that strand on the outside of the sock, it just, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to break the rules on crossing the strands because I can't stand seeing that strand. But yeah, and then doing a right and left is an adventure.
Yeah, I've never done right and left specific
Really? They're right and left. They're not identical.
I think the shape is the same, but the patterns mirror one another. So like, for example, there's a cable pattern
The
and you
stripes
cross it
go
to the
from
right,
one direction or the
one.
other.
And then on the other sock, you cross to the left.
Yeah. But they are fun. I think I would like to do another pair, but I don't think I would do both of those patterns. The woven, I'd either do the woven or I'd either do the stair steps in the whole
I agree
sock.
with you. They are pretty busy.
They just don't jive for me. The two of them together, I don't know. Just
yeah.
I guess if you
why
like,
shouldn't we so subtle?
Not subtle at all.
oh, the colors in his Facebook, his Rallo group, it's just so fun.
What
Looking
colors
at
did
all
he
the
use?
colors. And I was really impressed that self-striping yarn actually looks good
Yeah.
too for one of the colors. So
if you do for one of them. Yeah.
Years and years ago, probably 18, 19 years ago now, I was teaching at Seed Stitch in Salem, Massachusetts. And we got Stephen West to come in and do one of his first shawl classes that he did in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen to him name dropping, for God's sake.
And he was so young, he had hair. He was a baby. He was like, I don't know, like 19, 20 years old, maybe 20. Yeah, crazy, right?
By the way, Cindy wrote in chat that she has to go because she has 5 grandchildren visiting her. So she left. So that's why Cindy's not here any longer.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
And Rana asked, does anybody know where Judith is? We miss her. We haven't seen Judith in several weeks. Anybody heard from Judith?
No.
I wasn't the only MIA.
That's right.
Oh, I missed a couple weeks and they changed my work schedule and yeah. It's like, how dare they? I mean, it's work.
Well, I'm sure somebody has her email and can check on her. I know I don't, but
I do. I'll email her tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't have her email.
Yeah. So I can do that. See how she's doing.
That'd be great.
Has anybody heard of Meow Wolf
Yeah.
art? There's one in Santa Fe and now there's one in Denver.
Oh, there's one in Denver.
It's an art installation. Maybe, what'd you say?
I said, yeah, there's one in Denver now.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing next week for my birthday.
Oh, fun!
I won't be here.
I expect a full report. That's going to be so fun.
So what is it?
Yeah, what is it?
It's an interactive art exhibit and it's huge. They usually put them in warehouses the one in Santa Fe was in a warehouse and it took us 4 or 5 hours to go through the whole thing. But Rollin and I actually found one room that everybody else missed because it was just way back. So you do things like it's associated with a story, and that one was a science fiction story. And maybe you open the refrigerator in a kitchen, and because it was the setting was an old house, and then you open the refrigerator, and there's this like frozen tundra type of all white rooms that you can go into, and then the lights are doing weird stuff. And I mean, it was the most phenomenal art exhibit I've ever seen. And
Wow.
I think they redid that one because during the pandemic, but now the one in Denver is finally up and running. We've been wanting to go for a year. So I said, gotta go, my birthday. So I won't be here.
Well, happy
I will tell you all
birthday in
about it.
advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
say
so 65 and retiring the day before.
Nice.
Amazing.
Kathy, you've been saying you were retiring for the last 2 years, I think.
No, I actually officially wrote, and Chris said, and we won't ask you to come back again. And I'm like, that's right, Medicare, baby. I'm working on NitWiz.
Okay, we'll believe you one more time.
Last
And-
time.
That's fun. When I go visit my niece in Denver, I will like call you first.
You know,
Oh,
there,
Make
are
good.
sure
direct,
you're around so we
there are
can
direct
say hi.
flights from Bakersfield to Denver. I should just meet you there.
Yeah. Yeah. You can
You
stay
should go
here.
there often to cool off just for
Oh,
the
yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be 117 tomorrow.
Oh.
The heat dome has reached us.
Yeah, it's gross.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
that's a little hot even for me.
I don't know how
Be
you
safe,
I don't know how you
guys.
stand it.
No,
Stay
neither.
inside.
Stay inside.
Stay inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
have.
people are still visiting Death Valley. They're trying to have them stop, and they can't stop people from going out into Death Valley. That was on the news. Like,
Oh.
how
Let 'em.
stupid could you be?
Godspeed.
Let 'em.
Enjoy.
Let them. Well, the Darwin theory, right?
I don't know.
And Rana says,
Darwin,
eat
yeah.
lots of cake, Kathy.
I will.
Kathy, I want to ask again, what is the name of that art installation you're talking about?
Meow, like a cat meow.
Yeah.
And then wolf, WOLF, wolf.
Yeah.
Meow wolf.
So cool.
And did I pick up that there are multiple ones in different locations?
I don't know if there are any others, but I know the
Oh.
one in Santa Fe and I know the one in Denver. So
I
Denver
see.
and Santa Fe,
Okay.
but there might be another one.
There's a Meow Wolf in Las Vegas now.
Ah,
Oh,
It starts in like a little convenience store, and then you go into the
Fun.
magical world. Yeah, so there's also one in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know what the one in Denver's like. I'm not going to look it up ahead. I just want to be surprised. But with the pandemic, I mean, there was a lot of paper and things like that, and you're trying to solve the puzzle and read the stories. And, you know, on the table in the living room is an old farmhouse. This is in Santa Fe. There's lots of papers, but they've done away with all of that, I think, and everything's sort of interactive. And I don't know if you do it on your phone or how it works, or if it's just computers screens set up there. Well, I'll find out, but yeah, very cool though.
well, we'll expect a report back in 2 weeks.
Okay, you got it.
Rana asks about your birthday, Frank.
Oh, did she? I had a wonderful birthday. I went out to eat dinner 3 different times. I had 3 different birthday dinners. And I'm now 78 officially.
Wow.
And what can I say about it?
Well, you don't look it and you don't sound it.
That's true.
You know, that's the whole idea, right? you were more with it and tech savvy than most people in their 30s. So
That's true.
Well,
there
you
you go
know,
for 70
they
years.
say
Thank
that
you.
if you keep doing puzzles or things that make you think, it combats the aging of the brain that is out
100%.
by then. And so doing the website and knitting are both things that are using my brain a lot. And I also do Sudoku puzzles.
Right.
Yeah, you're saying that like years ago when I started this doing your Zoom, you were talking about Sudoku, and I started doing Sudoku,
Yeah.
and I love it now. And it's your fault, so thank
Yes.
you. All on you. They ping me, can you solve it? You know, and I love it because you almost get to race yourself. It's like I did a puzzle the other day, like 15 minutes faster than my normal, because I just buzzed right through it. And yeah, it's fun. I really like it.
There is a YouTube channel called Cracking the Cryptic. And it's two men. They each do one puzzle every day. And the puzzles usually is from a half hour to an hour and a half. Once in a while, it goes 2 hours for one puzzle. But they're not just straight Sudoku puzzles, just numbers in a grid. They are variants, which means they start with some other rules. Like I can't tell you the rules, but they start with variations of various rules and then figure out what numbers are going into the grid from that and then end up solving it as a regular Sudoku.
Yeah, it really, Sudoku really makes me think. And I'm like, okay, this has to be like good for you because wow, you know, I am burning the brain power.
That's right.
On the subject of birthdays, a friend of my parents, their child is having his first birthday, and he's developed his first toddler obsession. When those interests come in. So he has a thing for like playing with and sorting batteries. Toddlers, right? So yesterday I crocheted up this.
An ever ready
Oh
battery.
my
That's
gosh.
the copper top.
The battery buddy. I'm very pleased with that.
That's so
way that
cute.
came out. This is crocheted in woolly worsted from Yu. And I don't know. Something about it. I'm very pleased with it.
That's very cute.
You know,
Rana says it's a Duracell battery.
Yes. Yeah.
You are not quite right.
Modeled on.
But that is perfect.
So I don't know, that I'm very pleased with. I just like, I'm gonna make like what I don't know. I was gonna make them a little top, but they wear them for 2 minutes and then double in size suddenly at that age.
Yeah.
So I figured a little battery buddy. That's what I made. And then I'm working on just a little boomerang shawl.
Ooh.
With the yarn that I was spinning before.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So that's that hand spun that I was hand
Very nice. Mm.
So it's like a half linen stitch pattern to kind of mix up the colors as they come along. Simple 2-row repeat. And
I love that yarn.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh yeah, I'm very pleased
Beautiful.
with it. So I haven't made a shawl in a dog's age at this point. So making a little shawl to play with my hand spun. I had some runoff that I chain plied into a worsted that I made into a hat to give my dad. I can't show that, but that's what I did this week. I made a battery. Plied up my yarn, and I'm making a shawl.
Nice. We've got just a few minutes left. Who else wants to show something?
It is sad without Judith here. This is the point where we would force her to show us what she's working on. If you're
And
out
see
there,
something
Judith,
phenomenal,
you're not off the
right?
hook.
And see something phenomenal that she's made.
Yeah.
Like, what are you hiding that for? Are you kidding?
Well, I'll share I'm doing a deep dive into gauge, and I'm working on a test knit, and I couldn't get the designer's gauge.
Mhm.
And her gauge, this is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and it's the same yarn that she used. And she was getting 28 rows in 4 inches, and I was getting 22, even though my stitch gauge was on.
Oh, isn't
18.
that frustrating?
It was terrible. So I did a deep dive on YouTube. She was gonna adjust the pattern for me and have me take out rows here and stuff. And I said, you know what, I want to understand how you got that gauge. And I asked her what needle she used and what her style was, continental or English. And then that didn't help me much. So then I went between Patty Lyon and Suzanne Bryan. I figured out some techniques to tighten the row gauge. And I'm now getting between 26 and 27 on the same needle versus 22. My stitch gauge is a little tight. So, but I think I'm gonna just fudge that. I'm gonna let that be a little tight because it's supposed to have 4 inches of ease for me. And so if it has a little less, I'm good with that. I don't know if the designer's good with that, but
Have you tried using a larger size needle and see what that does?
yeah, I used a 7. I'm using a 6 now. I tried the 7. It was horrible.
Did your stitch gauge get too much? The reason I'm asking is I've had the experience of changing needle sizes.
Yeah,
and have the stitch gauge stay the same, but the row gauge changes.
I've heard
It
that.
isn't always the stitch gauge that changes when you change needle size, but I don't know what makes the difference.
Yeah, I wrote it down somewhere, but it didn't work for me. And I was hoping it would also. My row gauge was still way off. And I think the stitch gauge might have not changed that much, but anyway.
What's her style of knitting?
Continental, and she uses Chalgu metal needles.
Okay.
But Patty Lyons, well, the thing that it wasn't Suzanne Bryan, it was Roxanne Richardson. This really helped. I was having really loose floats. She was saying to just space the stitches on the needle so there's like about 1 yarn width between the stitches. And I was really stretching them out, making sure I didn't get tight floats, and that helped a lot. And then Patty Lyon was talking about, don't pull your needle way out, and because you stretch the stitch, you just basically wrap it around, let the needle size the stitch, and then just pull it off the needle and then stick it right back in the next stitch. You don't try and do all this crap. And that helped a lot. If anyone has any other suggestions, send them to me.
Roxanne won't tug the stitch until she has the other stitch on the needle already.
Yeah.
So not the first stitch, but the second stitch. Then she'll tug it a little bit. You don't tug the first stitch, you tug the second or third stitch.
Right. And I think she's the one that doesn't spread them apart before
she doesn't.
She spreads it apart after a little bit, just a little bit.
And she carries with both hands.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that video. I love her, by the way.
I do too.
She's really something.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I was just
pretty
curious.
top you have on, Karen.
This is Anna Daku's designed, called the Mala top, It's
That's
Oh.
lovely.
she's
Isn't
the
that
bluebird, the
beautiful?
bluebird box lady. She's called the bluebird box because she bans bluebirds and helps them study the bluebird population. And she builds bluebird houses along the fences. She lives in a rural area of Canada. And she builds, her friend builds the birdhouses and she installs them all over the place.
Oh, isn't
So-
that great? Yeah, I get a lot
Yeah.
of bluebirds where I am in northern Mass.
Well, it looks like it's about time for us to say goodbye for another week. Thank you all for
Aw.
coming. We had a really nice time. And I will keep working on my yoke and see if I can get this thing working.
Thank
Have
you.
a good week.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good week. Bye.